Hi everyone, this is Selvi. Today's topic is backlog refinement versus sprint planning. We are just trying to understand these two events. Already we have discussed about these two events separately in two different episodes. Today it is going to be a little bit of a different view. A certain question can come in our mind. If I do the backlog refinement very clearly, if I uh, do with lot of effort, because every time as a team we sit for the backlog refinement and we try to understand the requirement, and we know that what are the items that we will be picking up in the first step and what it will go in the second step. We all know all those details, right? In the backlog refinement itself we are understanding so many things about our backlog. In that case, why we need to have a separate sprint planning meeting? So this is all about backlog refinement versus sprint planning. The question is, when we have a detailed backlog refinement meeting, do we need a sprint planning meeting separately? Which is an interesting topic. So let's try to understand a little bit more what happens exactly in the backlog refinement and sprint planning. Just to understand this clearly, I want to give a real-time example from our day-to-day life. Actually, I was planning for a get-together party at my home, call some of my friends, and plan this. Actually, there was no date planned, and when we are planning, and what is the time that we are going to meet. None of the things are prepared. But actually, I want to make all the recipes on my own. I just want to ensure that everything that I am going to cook from my side for the get together party. So I started preparing from my side, learning many recipes. It may be a main course, it can be a starter, it is a dessert item, different ice creams, cake, all the things I was learning. I was completely preparing myself. So in the preparation time, I learned many things, like certain things, it takes a lot of time. So I need to prepare well. And some of the things I thought, like certain items which was not available at my kitchen. So I need to make it available at my kitchen so that that particular moment I will not be looking for that particular things. And certain items I thought like it is actually not my piece, because I was struggling a lot to understand that recipe process. So I thought like, okay, this is not a good idea to pick this recipe. So these all things were part of my learning. And I was also able to understand every recipe, how much time it is going to take also, because I was preparing myself, right? So I was preparing, I was trying to understand what are the um, uh, items that I need to make it available at my kitchen, how much time it is going to take, and is there something that I need to do well in advance before actually entering into the recipe. I was completely prepared. Now, even though I am completely prepared, can I just call my friends and start the get together party? I cannot do that. Why so? There are certain things I need to do, right? First of all, the time when we are going to meet is very important, because according to that the food items will change. For example, if it is at the lunch time, so accordingly I need to prepare the lunch menu. If it is at the dinner time, then I should ensure that the items that I'm going to prepare well suit for the dinner. So it actually depends on the time when we are meeting. And again, how many people are going to attend? I should check their availability, my friends' availability, when are they available, and I need to check all the things about their comfort, because I'm just giving this specific party to my friends, so I need to ensure about that. And as I mentioned that initially when I was preparing, I learned that there are some items I need to get it from the market and place it at my kitchen so that I won't feel any kind of trouble during the preparation. And I also need to ensure some of the items that I know that this particular recipe is going to take this much time and the other recipe is going to take this much time. So as I'm going to prepare on my own, I need to think about all the time factor as well while preparing, because every recipe is going to take this much time. So when I need to start cooking, whether I'll be able to prepare these many things, I should have some kind of schedule. The same thing happens in backlog refinement and sprint planning. We know that there is a product backlog. We will be keep on understanding that requirement, understanding that backlog items, like how I was learning the recipes. We will be keep on doing. While understanding that particular backlog item, we will try to understand any kind of dependencies or risk that is available. Similar way, when I was trying to learn the recipes, I was trying to understand what are the dependent items that I need to get from the market and place it at the kitchen. And what are the risks, whether I can really make this recipe or not. Similarly, what are the risks that is related to the backlog item. We will do all these things, and estimation also, how much time it will take to implement this. Similar way, how much time I will be need to prepare the recipe. All the things are available. Same way, I have a goal in my get-together party. It is for the lunch time. So my goal is to prepare a delicious lunch menu. So when I need to prepare a delicious lunch menu, I need to achieve lunch related recipes in my plan. Similar way, I have a sprint goal. That goal will be set during the sprint planning. Similar way, in the get together planning meeting, even though preparation is done, even though the refinement for my recipes are done, during the get together planning meeting, I'll understand the real target of this get together time, like it is lunch or dinner. And then I will understand how many people are going to attend, the availability, and how much time it is going to take. Accordingly, I need to plan the items, the sprint backlog items. Similar way, in the sprint planning, we will be trying to understand, okay, the goal is this. And now, to achieve this goal, what are the work items that I need to put it in my sprint backlog from the product backlog? And now execute it. While doing that, we will also use capacity and velocity. Similar way, how we use the capacity and velocity. So I think now you can fairly correlate the things. Now let me put it in a nutshell. For understanding, I explained with this example. I think hopefully this example would have helped. In addition, I just want to explain a little bit. Backlog refinement is a understanding, elaboration of the requirement, identifying the dependencies, identifying the risk, and finally estimate it. So the outcome of the backlog refinement meeting is very simple. For all the work items that we have refined, we will be getting the estimation. That is the whole purpose. We don't know the sprint goal. We don't know what we are going to achieve, but at the end, we are all going to achieve all the things in the product backlog. But when, in what order? Here comes the sprint goal. We have 10 days. According to the priority, this is my goal now. So now my full target is to achieve this goal with the help of these work items. And of course, I am resolving the dependencies before picking the product backlog item to the sprint backlog. And I am ensuring if there are any risk, what is the mitigation plan. I am also going to ensure according to the capacity I am picking or not. These all things will happen during the sprint planning. If we are going to do this in the backlog refinement, what are the disadvantages which will happen? If we skip the sprint planning meeting, let's take like that, what will happen? We know the complete clarity, but maybe some items have dependencies which are open, which have not met the definition of ready checklist. Only because it is priority, we are going to pick that up, which may get into blocker during the sprint execution. Second thing, we don't know the capacity of the team for the sprint, because we are directly jumping from the backlog refinement to the execution, right? We are skipping the sprint planning. So we don't know the capacity, and we are not going to the velocity as a guidance. And we don't know, of course, what is the goal that we are going to achieve in another 10 days of sprint execution. So that's the reason we really, really want to have this meeting. But in addition to that, I just want to add one point. More and more we do the refinement better, and more we have a proper dependency management system in place, and to handle the open actions which are identified as part of refinement, we can reduce the time of the sprint planning, because we are very clear when we know the goal. Okay, to achieve this goal, what are the associated items? Just pull it, match it with the capacity, and plan the things. Fine, we are good to start. And in another thing, in sprint planning, only team will be pulling the items on their name. They will be assigning the work items on their name. Backlog refinement, we don't do that, right? Backlog refinement is mainly for understanding. Only understanding, identify the things, and make ourselves comfortable so that we are able to work this item with the help of estimation. But here comes the actual picture. What is the goal? Okay, so these are the things we are going to work. Who is going to work on what? Let me pull this item on my name. And whether all the dependencies are resolved or not, if it is not resolved, I cannot work on that. I cannot start even that. I cannot put it in my sprint backlog. So these things are entirely different. So that's why we should have this sprint planning meeting. Sprint planning meeting gives us the sprint backlog, which is associated with the sprint goal. And this sprint goal gives us the clear path what we are going to achieve in another 10 days or 15 days, whatever the sprint length is. So this is also equally important. But again, I'm highlighting, more and more we do the refinement, and more we have a very strong dependency management system, then it is very easy in the sprint planning. We won't spend much time. We will be able to move much faster because things are very clear. And when we are documenting things like definition of ready with the different levels measurement, then it is very easy whether we have really achieved the definition of ready or not. And accordingly, we will be able to pick that up in the sprint backlog with the help of priority as well. So it's much more easy for us. If we still have so many open items and we don't religiously follow the definition of ready related checklist, then there are chances that we may end up in a situation that we spend more time on analyzing that and fixing those kind of things rather than actually creating the sprint backlog. So this is what I just want to explain in this episode. There is a difference between backlog refinement and the sprint planning. So backlog refinement meeting definitely cannot help us in completely skipping the sprint planning meeting. But in a nutshell, it helps us to clearly focus and optimize the time that we use in the sprint planning with the right focus, if we do the backlog refinement in a very, very proper way. This is what I just want to add. Thanks everyone for listening. Happy learning and stay tuned.